What is it? It's your father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight.
Hello there, luminous beings, and welcome to the Force Nexus. Lightsabers, the ceremonial weapon of the Jedi, were a staple of the Order, with each member wielding a coloured blade specific to their personal attributes and their journey through the Force. Although most of the galaxy associated these blades with the light side order, they were also wielded by those within the ranks of the Sith, as well as a number of specific Force-sensitive individuals. Whilst anyone, Force-sensitive or not, can pick up and use a blade of this kind, it takes years of training and discipline to not only wield it effectively, but also safely, taking care not to amputate oneself in the middle of a duel. To this end, when used by a Force-sensitive, it can be wielded in conjunction with the Force to greatly enhance offensive and defensive capabilities. In this first part of a multi-video series, we will take a look at the history of the famous blades, from a ceremonial symbol of peace to an outlawed relic of the past. The lightsabers date back to an age thousands of years before the formation of the Republic, with the earliest record of them being used during the Great Scourge of Malachor. This event saw both Jedi and Sith battle before a massive Sith temple which contained a superweapon powered by the very crystals that power the lightsabers themselves, Kyber. The Jedi had learnt of this weapon and, in retaliation, coordinated an attack on the temple. The use of the saber in a manner like this was a rarity for the Jedi back then, as they were devoted peacekeepers and only relied on their weapons for defense, and not attack. During the conflict between the two sides of the Force, the superweapon misfired, killing everybody, Jedi and Sith alike, and petrifying their horrified images into stone. Several thousand years later, the sight was happened upon a small group of Force-sensitive rebels, who discovered that among the remnants of the battle were the lightsabers used by those who participated. All rendered useless and refused to ignite, but some were of historical interest, as some lightsabers left behind were of an ancient crossblade design, sporting two blade vents at the top of the hilt. As the galactic timeline moved along to the time of the Clone Wars, the Jedi were required to rely on these weapons a lot more, having unwillingly but inevitably taken on the responsibility of commanding the clone armies as generals of the Republic. Although this goes against the Jedi's beliefs and the symbolism of the lightsaber, in a time of all-out war, they had little choice in order to protect the citizens of the Republic. As a result, one's lightsaber meant even more to a Jedi than ever before, both as a symbol of peace and a simple tool to survive in a galaxy boiling up with tension. This is a lesson, amongst many more, learned by younglings in the Jedi Order as they undergo their gathering, a rite of passage that Jedi take in order to find their Kyber crystal, or rather, for their crystal to find them. Once their crystal is obtained, they go on to design a saber of their own, one that both speaks to them as an individual, but also represents them, becomes a part of them. Whilst all designs were unique, some even showcasing glistening jewels and gemstones, the majority of them were made of strong, saber-resistant metals to encase the blade and the inner workings of the weapon. There were also rare occasions where a Jedi would forego using metal for their casing, and instead opted for a wood casing carved from a brylock tree found on Kashyyyk, which served as a material strong enough for the weapon. Years later, during the final moments of the Clone Wars, the Jedi themselves were branded traitors of the Republic as it shifted into the age of the Galactic Empire. With it came Order 66, the Great Jedi Purge. It was ordered that along with the extermination of any Jedi they find, those hunting them were required to retrieve the victim's lightsaber, with the combined collection being incinerated in front of a live crowd, while advisor to the Emperor Mas Amida delivered his speech of freedom and declaring the Jedi no more. From this point on, both the Jedi and their weapons faded into legend. Those who survived the Purge and went into hiding tended to keep their saber as they started their new lives, but lived with the knowledge that even a glimpse of this long-forgotten blade by somebody not from the Jedi Order themselves could result in their capture, torture, and death by the hands of the Empire. As you can assume, this marked a transition for the status of the once revered weapon. It either led to the extermination of a hiding Jedi, or was seen in the hands of dark side users, including the Sith Inquisitors and Darth Vader himself. A symbol of hope and protection morphed into one of murder and suffering. All until one specific lightsaber was passed down to the son of a great Jedi and a sinister Sith Lord. Luke Skywalker took up the blade of his father, Anakin Skywalker, to pursue his journey as a Jedi and help bring balance to the Force. The legend of Luke Skywalker and the stories of his victory pushed the blade back into the hopeful hearts of galactic citizens. With peace restored and the dark side diminished, Luke began to train a new temple of Jedi students, bringing back the significant teaching of the blade. That was until the temple was destroyed, seemingly by young Ben Solo on his path towards the dark side. This, once again, moved the Jedi and the lightsaber back into the shadows of seclusion and myth, and branded the dark side as the wielders of the lightsaber in the eyes of many. However, once again, the Skywalker blade found its way to another Force user, Rey, as she underwent her path as a Jedi, and just like Luke, brought balance to the Force and peace to the galaxy as a whole. It now lays to rest, alongside its sister blade underneath the Law's homestead, to commemorate the end of the Skywalker legacy. The legacy of the lightsaber itself, however, may still have more in store for the galaxy as we continue into the future of this galaxy far, far away, and make interesting discoveries from the past. I hope you've enjoyed this look back at the history of the lightsaber. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment with your thoughts on lightsabers down below, share it through the Force with your friends, and consider subscribing for more content like this. But until then, luminous beings, may the Force be with you all, always.